Hi there, and welcome to the ATS podcast with me, Will Brown, and John Soulsby, where we break down chunks of health and fitness information into bite sized pieces, remove a bunch of the noise, and just leave what's relevant. Today we are on episode 41, which the topic for today is intuitive eating.
Hmm. So, defining intuitive eating,
hmm
are we defining it as only eating when you're hungry?
I think so. Again, this unsurprisingly, intuitive eating hasn't been defined by anyone of any
Well,
like
yeah.
strong merit. It's been defined by a lot of health bloggers, um, and it does have some grounding in that I think it is. I believe it originally became a thing for people who, through various circumstances, ended up unhealthily underweight and with a possibly obsessive
Yeah.
um, drive for certain unrealistic body images and certain kind of false beliefs about themselves, how they look, how they appear. So for someone who is underweight with potential eating disorders or moderately disordered eating, it can be a helpful tool in that you kind of use your own cues and like your body's own kind of feedback loops to
Hmm.
determine how much you eat, and that's it, and that's totally fine. However, we also have a cardiovascular health epidemic, mainly due
Yeah.
to a massive rise in obesity at literally every age bracket measurable.
Yeah. I think for that, general intuitive eating just isn't going to work. Otherwise, we wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah, I think that's where its popularity has outscaled its use, I think. I think it has a very decent place in helping people who maybe have struggled to convince themselves to eat because they're worried about the outcomes of eating that much and they are
Hmm.
medically underweight versus everyone else who I think engages in far too much uh, emotional emotional hunger, like dopaminergic decision making of like they take the feel good now option rather than the good for me not now option,
Yeah.
which is mostly again if you want to if you actually just pay attention, you'll be incredibly surprised how quickly you can get to the biscuit tin after you've like had a stressful call at work or had like a shit day at work or like had to talk to a family member who stresses you out because they're a knob or whatever, or you're feeling sad because I don't know Chelsea lost at the football or whatever. Like
Or just bored.
yeah, or just bored. That's the other one. Yeah, you literally sat twiddling your thumbs with nothing to immediately occupy your brain, and you just go and start eating. That happens a ton. So yeah, I don't think intuitive eating is for many people. I don't think it's a good strategy that we attempt to use kind of broadly. I don't think it has a place in helping the. Maybe I suppose it's just like it's more so getting people to dissociate between when they're just wanting to eat to like fulfill an emotional need or when they're actually hungry. And it's quite difficult to get some people, especially if they're like really heel dug in knee deep in it, to kind of differentiate between the two without just convincing themselves. It's because if they know the right answer, they're just going to convince themselves it's
Yep.
the right answer.
And also, I think in an exercising population as well, it doesn't work to a certain extent because if you've ever done a massive like workout or um like being out in a cycle or a run or whatever, 30 minutes afterwards, it you can be absolutely starving, and that does not necessarily mean you need to eat the world in food.
No.
Have you been there and done that?
Yeah.
And sometimes you do feel like you need to, and you do need to, but if you always ate intuitively in those scenarios as well, you would very quickly overeat every time you work out.
So I'm just looking up for some talking points. I've looked up some. Someone has summarized the 10 key principles of intuitive eating.
There's 10.
I know, it's a lot. Number one, reject the diet mentality. The diet mentality is the idea there is a diet out there that will work for you. It's like, well, no,
Is
there
this
isn't.
also is this as they punt a different diet?
The second sentence, intuitive eating is the anti-diet. Like, interesting.
But, oh, Jesus
I was like,
Christ.
it is, but I don't see how abandoning structure will set you free. That's not how anything happens.
Freedom in the chaos, William.
Oh, freedom in the chaos. You're only in control when you're out of control.
Exactly.
Tokyo Drift had it right all along. Hunger is not your enemy. It's also true.
Yeah.
Respond to early signs of hunger by feeding your body. If you let yourself get excessively hungry, then you're likely to overeat. That's not entirely untrue either. It's
No, I
almost
could.
like
Yeah.
having a schedule of regular eating times spaced evenly throughout the day might be a good idea, but
No, that's you're limited by the
heresy.
structure there, William.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
heresy. Too much structure. Not intuitive enough. Um, make peace with food. Call a truce in the war with food. Of this has to be American. No one else calls everything a war. Um, get rid of ideas about what you should or shouldn't eat. That's fair.
I
There
mean,
are
I
no,
very much agree with that.
yeah, no good or bad foods, just food. Um, challenge the food police. Well, no. How about you just focus on yourself? Like, calm down.
The food police.
I know. I don't know who
This
those
is
guys are.
American.
Yeah,
This
this has.
has to.
Yeah, so far we're not even halfway in, and we've had war and police. This is 100% American. Food is not good or bad. Agree. And you are not
I've
good
not
or
already
bad for
said
what
that.
you eat or don't eat. Yep, also agree. Challenge thoughts
Uh
that
huh.
tell you otherwise. Right, so it's essentially 2 points about stop listening to yourself say things are bad.
Agree with that.
Respect your fullness. Just as your body tells you when it's hungry, it will also tell you when you're full. Listen for the signals of comfortable fullness when you feel like you've had enough as you're eating. Check in with yourself to see how food tastes or how hungry or full you are feeling. Agree.
Yeah, don't get
Like,
to the point where you feel sick.
I 100 as someone who has had to overeat or as someone who has had to force food down themselves to gain weight at a period of time, I can 100% agree that you definitely get told when you are not
Yeah.
eating, you're eating too much, because that's essentially when you keep going. Um, yeah, again, not super silly, but like I don't think, to be fair, I don't actually think people harp on that enough. Of like, I think there's so much overpowering cultural stimuli to the opposite of like, it's rude to leave food. Well, I'm out and I fucking paid for it, so I'm gonna eat it all. Like, it's wasteful, blah blah blah. Like, what is it? The classic, children are starving somewhere.
Yeah, but they're not getting that anyway.
I was about to say you can't post it to them. Not even with someone, yeah, not even Deliveroo can get there in time.
No.
Uh,
No, I agree with that, and I think yeah, there's a lot of pressure to finish food.
yeah, but there's can also just as well be like, just don't make so much. It's like a
Yeah.
super easy one. Um, discovers the satisfaction factor. Make an experience enjoyable. Have a meal that tastes good. Sit down to eat it. Again, actually agree. Like, I'm a big person. I'm a big fan of sitting at a table, no phones, no TVs, just like eating and talking. I think the social aspect of eating is hugely underrated.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably, again, if you're one of these people that lost a ton of weight in lockdown instead of gained it, that's how you know you're a social eater. Because you couldn't go out for drinks and you couldn't go out for food. So
Yeah.
all of your main bugbears with overeating have been removed. So if you're one of those people, be like, oh, okay, maybe. Oh, here we go. Honor your feelings without using food. It's like emotional eating is a cope. Find ways unrelated to food to deal with such feelings. Agree.
Yeah.
Such as taking a walk, meditating, journaling, or calling a friend. Again, not silly.
No.
Taking a walk, even better. That hits two things with one stone. You get your fucking recovery in. We talked about that on the last episode.
Yep.
It'd be literally what I was talking about noticing it. Become aware of the times where a feeling that you might call hunger is really based on emotion.
Yep.
Differentiating that, very difficult.
So it's essentially all correct, apart from the fact that have no structure.
Yes, like you can have all of this within a structured plan. Like that is you can well not have your cake and eat it, but you can have your structure and not go mental.
I think it's far too easy because my issue as well, if you don't have a structure, it's far too easy if you're busy at work or life to get to 4 p.m. and be like, oh no, I've not eaten yet.
Yeah,
And then you just go off the other end and
yeah,
eat shit tons.
yeah. And you eat like a
Because
2,000 calorie meal and then have dinner like 2 hours later.
intuitively you're hungry.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, have structure.
Also not the
And
best for optimizing
I'm
muscle
bad for it as well.
proteins. Yeah, muscle protein
Yeah,
synthesis. Not very optimal in periods
no,
of no food.
totally
Um,
agree.
Respect your body, rather than criticizing for how it looks and what you perceive is wrong with it. Recognize it as capable. Yep, fine.
It's not really
Exercise.
diet based, but yeah,
Yeah, it's part of the problem though. Is that like
true.
exercise? Feel the difference. Agree. Find ways to move your body that you enjoy. God, how many times have we written that in the first quarter of this year?
Oh, on all the time.
Yeah, so many blog posts. Literally find exercise that you like. It doesn't have to be in the gym. Like nothing will make less sense to me than people who drive to the gym to sit on a bike and then go home.
Yeah,
Go outside. Shift focus from losing weight to feeling energized, strong and alive. Even better to feel strong, lift some weights. Will
yep,
help tremendously.
with everything.
Honor your health. Gentle nutrition. Oh, God. The food you eat should taste good and make you feel good. Overall food patterns shape your health. Correct. One meal or snack isn't going to make or break your health. Also correct.
Yeah, don't catastrophize.
Yeah, catastrophizing, fucking like have
I do
like
that
feel bad, have one Kit Kat, aka the entire week of dieting's fucked. Might as well just jump off the pier now.
and have the bag.
Yeah, have the bag. The again, not entirely too silly. Apart from just having minimal structure, like I think the key point that this missing is that you can imply structure and organize all of this. Like you can have all of this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and even better, you can have the data to back it up if you want to just lose weight. Cause unsurprisingly, like again, I always use the analogy of a bank balance, mainly because it's like something everyone's used to. Like everyone has money, everyone
Yep.
spends money. If you attempted to make a budget, or if you're attempting to be a functional adult and just never looking at your bank balance or looking at your ins and outs ever, number one, how the fuck are you still alive? Number two, like it's just so untenable. Like you're just like, oh, when does rent come out? I don't know. Like people literally
Some
could
point.
be rinsing you for double rent. You wouldn't know because you don't
Yeah.
check. Like, oh, it's just wild. Yeah, like just taking like obviously much like your accounts, you don't have to micromanage everything. You don't have to be on there every hour of the day being like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's this? But like, check it weekly. Like when you
Yeah.
expect things to come out. Like, oh, first of the month. Have I like or like end of the month, have I been paid? Oh, sweet. First few days of the month. Oh, have all my direct debits gone out? Like it's not it's not like you have to become some weird obsessive finance goblin. You just have to keep like a little bit of an eye on it.
Yep.
It's like, oh, I want to do blah, need to save some money, need to like make sure I set some stuff aside or like curtail my spending in order to save up for something, which is essentially what a kind of structured eating thing is you are curtailing your short-term food structure and food habits in order to improve your health and or weight significantly or yeah, aesthetic significantly. That is the long-term positive you are putting some short-term discomfort in for. But yeah, intuitive eating, possibly like reasonably good. Doesn't have to be its own thing. Literally can work within normal dietary structure if people pay enough attention.
Yep.
Job done.
Okay.